cricket, India, UK, and then all of a sudden you become my favorite US sports agent. What happens? Because America, if you make it in New York, you can make it anywhere, right? So how did that happen?
I actually moved to America because I met my now ex-husband. And so that's what brought me over. And I was naive though, like, because it sounds so funny, but America, yeah, I'll give you a story. I was once on the phone to a girlfriend and she was like, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to the World Series." And she went, "Oh, who's playing?" I was like, the Mets and whoever else they were competing against at Kansas. And she was like, "Why is it called the World Series?"
Right. Yeah, right. I asked myself that as a kid all the time. Belgium is not in it, right?
Exactly. And then I was like, "Oh my God, you're right." But the same way that we joke about America being like the center of the world, so is in sports sometimes the Commonwealth. So like I had gone for cricket to India, South Africa, West Indies, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. I mean, these are all, I'm sure there are more, all countries I'd been to. And so when I moved to America, I was just like, very naive. I was like, where's the cricket? Like, of course, there must be something here. Pinged my friend who was the CEO of the International Cricket Council, so like David Stern of cricket. And I was like, hey, what's going on in America? Like, can I just figure something out? And he was like, no. And that's when I really realized that, oh my God, like, and I know it sounds so naive, but again, because I didn't watch much sports growing up, as I said, played, but not watched. I suppose I didn't really know how different the sports scene was. And so when I landed, I was like, oh my God, like, this is so different. And then even commercialization, I mean, sponsorship is the number one form of monetization, media dollars and sponsorship, rest of world. But in America, it's ticket sales, it's hospitality. It's, that's like everyone gets out of college and they go into ticket sales and then they work their way up. So the business of sports is different. Like the actual sports are different. Like the way that I remember the first, like, obviously from Manchester, a United supporter, United had like, I don't know how many they have now. One time they had like 13 telecom partners across the world. I mean, they had a telecom partner in Afghanistan and, like regional sponsorships. And that's how a lot of these teams, Liverpool, United, like that's how they drove their brand awareness. They'd partner with a regional partner in Asia, China, whoever, and it would promote them. And I found out when I was doing some work in America, so I started trying to understand the sports landscape. And I realized that like teams couldn't do a deal and have their logos used by that partner outside of like, I think it's like 75 kilometers from the stadium. And I think that was created in the Jordan area because otherwise everyone would have sponsored the Bulls and no one else would have got any money. I think so. Don't quote me while I'm saying that on screen. But so I started being like, oh, this is so different. Like everything is very, very different here, which I suppose helped me to create open sponsorship because I was like, there's an opportunity. It's different. I like it. There's fragmentation. There's a real problem here. But don't get me wrong. At the beginning, I was like, what the hell am I doing?
And so, however, though, open sponsorship, somebody told me the other day, our good friend Ash told me the other day, open sponsorship is such a great idea. I don't understand why nobody has done this. And I told him, that's because it's the easiest idea to have ever. But the execution of it is one of the hardest challenges you would face in your career. How do you get big name athletes to go on a platform like if they were Instagrammers and take you seriously? So how did you break that conundrum? Because I can say it for you so that the audience don't think you're biased. Open sponsorship is a success. It's now, approaching Series A. It has really big name athletes in all sports. Some of them we've done deals together, or with others we are about to. So how did that happen? Because seeing the problem and the need is one thing. Convincing the people who need that service that they actually need it when they are so successful and rich and famous already is another entirely. So tell us more about secret sauce of your success.
I'd say, obviously we weren't the first to have the idea. As I realized when we launched, people were like, tried this and failed, or they tried it and failed. And, timing is a big thing. And to be honest, like, we've now been doing it over 6 years. And so if I started today, I think it would have been a quicker success. Obviously 6 years worth of hard work does pay off and helps you to grow as a CEO, entrepreneur, whatever else. But I still think we were quite early to do what we did. But I would say that having been in the sponsorship weeds and having worked with some of the biggest teams in the world and some of the best players in the world, what I knew is the brand was everything. The brand dollars are everything, which obviously you know. And so when we launched, to be honest, I was quite agnostic to should it be athlete? Should it we had the Met sign up, we had the Mavericks sign up, I think we had the Heat sign up, and then then we had some athletes sign up, we had some events sign up, and I was just all right, and I was great, let's just create this marketplace. And what we did quite early on was start really listening to the brands and being okay, what can we do for you, and what won't we do for you? And so a lot of people get surprised that we don't work with a lot of sports brands. We recently just started about a year back, started working with Foot Locker, and that's great. But Nike, Adidas, Reebok, not yet. I think we're close. And honestly, it was because they don't have that pain point. They're well, we could call anyone we know, right? We don't need a service like this. And then it was interesting to figure out, okay, well, big brands who have agencies may not need us. Okay, so then there's small brands, but do they have the budget? Or then there's these mid-level brands, or what about the CPG brands who have big budgets but don't understand sports? Oh, that's a really interesting sector. So I think what we did really well was not pivot, but keep switching and changing messaging, testing out. And obviously it helped that I was our first salesperson for the longest time. And so I was listening to what they were saying, and my technical co-founder was listening to my pitch and trying to create product out of it. And so I think we went after the brands, and that was important. We didn't go straight and say okay, let's try and get LeBron James or Tiger Woods. In fact, when we met a lot of these agencies, I still remember actually, I pitched CAA, very senior person at CAA. He was why would we ever need this? Of course we don't need this. We have a whole sales team. I was okay. And then, we went off and signed other people up in other ways. And then I remember that our first ever CAA deal was done through the tennis team. And then what happened was, so we did that deal, and then she must have told other people at her level, so not this most senior level, hey, you should check out this platform. We just did this deal for quite a bit of money through this platform. And then the basketball guys signed up, and then the football guys signed up. But it was the junior sports agents. It wasn't the most famous. And they're the ones who are tasked with going out and getting sponsorship deals. The contract agent, he's got a relationship with Nike, pulls in $1 million and then does contracts. So I think what we did also correct, I didn't have a big ego in the sports game. I didn't need everyone to know who we were and to make sure that the top guy at CA knew that they were using us. Because also I remember I thought about, should I message him and say, hey, we did that? And then I thought, no, because he might turn around to that person and say, why the hell did you use this website? So let's not let anyone know that they're using us. And so, we were actually for our investment, we were pitching an NBA player recently, and he was why do most of the NBA players on your site not know that they're on your site? And I was because if we go out and we're hey, you're on our platform, does the agent pull them? And we rely on the agents, especially for the bigger athletes and whatever else. So I think honestly, like a lot of people in sports do have an ego, and it's being cool and like hanging out with the athletes. And back to our earlier point, that wasn't it for me. Like, I really want to solve this problem. I'm really passionate about sponsorship marketing, and so I suppose I took a hit on Open Sponsorship brand, rightly or wrongly, but focused on revenue and brand and like doing deals.
Rightly. And I tell you why. When you work in if you go into, anybody out here listening, if you go into sports marketing and endorsements, or into YouTube influencer marketing, or into serving music stars, you have to be perfectly cool of not taking the trophies. And if you are the one with no ego in a room full of egos, then they will come back to you, because with you they can take the trophy. and so a friend of mine wisely said, I'd rather be rich than right. And and so he will let you take all the credits you want, as long as he gets paid for the job he's done. And if you go into a room full of LeBron James, Kevin Durant, David Big Papi Ortiz, and you think you're gonna get a pat in the back, you're in the wrong line of business. You're not going to get noticed. Actually, it's like a referee's job in sports. You've done a great job if nobody noticed you.
Yeah.
If we're talking about the referee, something went wrong.